We are picking up on a series that you love, and with that, talking to a woman you love as well. Take 5 is a newer series for us here at Studio 5. It's a chance to get to know influential women on a more personal level and see them off script. We have filled a jar with your viewer-submitted questions intended to help connect us girlfriend to girlfriend, and our special guest each month gets to take 5 and answer those questions on the spot. Well, today's special guest is a name and face we know and love. First Lady of Utah, Abby Cox, is a strong voice in our state and has been since her husband was sworn in as governor last year. She's a woman known for her small town roots, her community connections, her warmth and relatability, leading qualities that help to shape her initiatives as Utah's First Lady, including her goal to inspire Utahns to break down barriers and bring people closer together. We'll note she and Governor Cox are high school sweethearts and the proud parents of 4 children. Welcoming Abby Cox back to Studio 5. It's been a minute. It's so good to have you.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here with you.
We were just chatting timeline, approaching kind of the 2-year mark of that new post for your husband, yourself, and your family. How are things feeling 2 years later?
Yeah, it's good. We feel really happy about the things we've been able to do. We're settling in, and family's doing great, so we're happy.
Good to hear it. And you have done, Abby, a number of things during your time as Utah's First Lady that have made an impact, including your initiative. I want to ask you before we get into this looming jar in front of us, but your initiatives show up. And this initiative, I know, came from a personal place. It was born out of your commitment to create opportunities for people to get proximate with each other. And that's not a word we say or talk about very often. I'm glad you're bringing it forward. How is that going, and where does your goal stand today?
It's going really well. We're really busy, and we feel really good about the successes that we've had. That idea of getting proximate really is the idea of getting to know somebody that has a different story, and maybe having an experience with somebody that is very different from you. And these are ways that we connect. These are ways that we find common humanity, and I just think it's what our world is craving right now. So through our Show Up initiative, we have done some really incredible things around our foster families, around unified sports with our Special Olympians. We have been doing some great work with our teachers, our educators, and making sure that they have the tools that they need to be successful in their jobs. And then really just connecting through service, making sure that our communities are coming back together after this terrible time of really being apart and you know, really experiencing some discord in our public you know, perceptions and of each other. And it's time to put all that away. It's time to reconnect as communities.
It's a beautiful initiative and goal for so many reasons. I think, you know, you would easily agree it's so easy for us, especially as women, to stay in our comfortable circles. Like, I'm comfortable with these people, I know these people. I think as I've watched your work, that's what's personally impressed me the most, is this challenge or this opportunity to break out of that circle, turn it into more of a horseshoe, and welcome stories in. Has your perspective been changed as you've led the charge with this?
Yes, absolutely. And there are people that I've been able to get to know because I've been open, because I'm ready to learn. And I think as we work through that, that's the most rewarding, the most rich experience we can have as humans, is really to find somebody that maybe we wouldn't have gotten to know before, and being open to hearing their stories. And through my initiative, especially with my kids with disabilities and the fun experiences we've had with unified sports, kids in school are getting to know somebody with a different story, with a different experience. And what that's doing is really creating an environment of connection, of inclusion, of making sure that everyone feels love and belonging and has a voice.
And you start at that level and you think how the community effect will ripple out. It's super exciting. Thanks for the update. We're cheering you on in that. And cheering you on today as you take what's kind of been dubbed the hot seat. Are you comfortable in this space, kind of just taking on the questions?
Let's go.
All right, dip in, sister. Let's draw this first question. We've promised 5. You get to pick it. I get to read it. Oh, I like this question, actually. This is viewer-submitted questions for Abby Cox. What is your love language? So I'll give you the 5 options. You know this. It's a book turned into a philosophy. There's physical touch, words of affirmation, gift-giving, quality time, and acts of service. What is your love language?
I would... maybe the last 2.
Acts of service?
Yeah, acts of service
and
quality time, for sure.
Yeah.
I love spending time with people that I love, and, you know, especially family, friends, new friends, connections. That's where I get my fill up.
Well, one person you love is quite busy. And so since the love language question is typically applied most commonly to the marriage relationship, how are you carving out that quality time with the governor? What does date night look like in your relationship?
Sadly, a lot of times it's political events.
A nice chicken dinner.
Yes, exactly. But we do try really hard, to make sure that we get our family time and our time together on the schedule. We spend time traveling in the car, and that's a time for us to talk with one another, spend time together, listening to each other. But we do have the opportunity to do a lot of the things that we do together. Yeah. And so that's a good time. But we, where we have people with us most of the time, there are those moments that we have to just carve out and say, this is our time to have a conversation, to stop, to take a breath. I have to get, little snippets of vacation time on the calendar early and often is what I try to do.
And guard those protectively. Yes. And very few of us could relate to the schedule that you keep, but I love what I'm hearing you say, which is making those in-between times work. Yeah. I don't have a gubernatorial calendar to maintain, but I have 4 kids. And sometimes just working in that conversation is hard. So seize the opportunity. Yeah. Good answer. All right, let's dip for number 2. Our time is already running out too quickly. Oh, we got 2. Here.
Should I keep it?
Yeah, keep it.
Okay, we'll keep it.
We'll go for 2 and 3. There we go. There we go. All right, question 2. When you were a really little child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I've been asked this question, and I honestly can't remember, but I don't think that I thought much about anything else but being an educator, because my grandma was an educator, my mom was an educator. It felt like that was something I wanted to connect with. I also had friends that just happened to have Down syndrome that became my dear, dear friends. And I just knew I needed to be around my friends that have different abilities. And so I knew that special education was probably the path for me always.
So that was born in you early, that shaped in you early.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
remarkable to think about. All right, question 3. This is a hard one. This is a mean one. What's your happiest memory? I mean, pick one.
Well, yes, I have so many, but I will get the most recent top of mind. Yeah. We were just on Saturday out at Antelope Island. My happy place, I always say it's my natural state, is on a horse. And there's been a couple of experiences, with my sisters and I, we go and ride all the time, but we just were out doing the bison roundup at Antelope Island.
Oh, sure.
Permagrin all day long, riding a horse, being a real cowgirl. Yeah. Or bison girl, or whatever we're calling it.
And what is it about that horse connection, that equestrian connection? Because nature is one thing, and obviously you're experiencing that when you're with an animal, but what is it about that fuels you?
I don't know. There's something about a girl and her horse.
A girl and her horse.
But it really is this idea that I grew up with that a lot of people understand as equine therapy, but I didn't know I was getting that as a child. But especially for a girl, a young girl growing up, trying to control that size of an animal and using your voice and understanding the power that you have within you, and then just the connection that you have with this beautiful animal. I don't know what it is. It fills my soul. It's what I need to survive.
I've never heard it quite described like that, but using your voice is kind of an interesting connection to consider, and here you are doing that today. All right, 2 more. Okay. My producer's giving me the TikTok. Darn it, we needed a whole show with you, lady. Here we go. What is something you inherited from your mom or your grandma that you're the most proud of? I love this question.
Well, I did talk about my love for education, and I will say along those lines, my love for reading and for books. My love of reading is really what fuels the ideas that I can see learning about new perspectives, new people, and having those experiences through a book. I've learned incredible lessons. The idea of getting proximate really did come from the book Just Mercy from Bryan Stevenson, and that's one of my happiest places as well, is in a book.
It's beyond a lens. It's a window opener, isn't it? All right, last one. You've done great.
Hey.
You've done awesome. These are good questions, too. Our viewers are bringing it. Ooh, kind of an interesting, a poignant one to end on. What is your deepest fear, Abby? What is your deepest fear?
I think, like most moms, it's that your kids won't be happy. Yeah. And so for me, it's that fear of really making sure that your kids are in a good place. I've heard said that, you know, you're only as happy as your saddest child. And I think that's fairly true. I don't always want it to be, but it seems like it is. And
when do you feel the most peace and fulfillment in motherhood? When do you feel that motherhood peace wash over you and that contentment that can come from that role?
Yes, I think for me, it's when they're all together making each other laugh.
Yeah.
We speak fluently the language of sarcasm in our house.
I love that.
So when our kids are just really teasing each other and laughing and just making fun and just having a great time, that's when I feel the most peace with my kids.
Listen, you're an educator, so I won't give the grade, but if I was, it was an A+ on Take 5 today. Thank you for sharing a piece of you, a piece of your heart, and we're cheering you on and supporting you in all that you do. Thank you for what you do for our state.
Thank you.
Check in often, please.
Absolutely.